would you please ask Graham about a tool that Moses used to write the Ten Commandments? In his book, The Sign and Seal, he says that Moses went into the clouds on Mount Ararat. When he returned after using this tool, he had to cover his face. Was this some sort of powered tool? How was it powered? Was it a laser? What could it have been?
Yes, thank you for that for that question. It was while I was writing The Sign and the Seal, which is my quest for the Lost Ark of the Covenant, that I first started to bump into these strange echoes of a kind of lost system of knowledge from long, long ago. Strange descriptions of objects and artifacts that seemed out of place in time and didn't fit with the orthodox view of history at that time. And there is a strange tool, I guess would be the word for it, that I refer to in The Sign of the Seal, which was known as the shamir, the stone that cuts rocks, or in some translations, the worm that cuts rocks. And this strange device was said to have cut through the hardest of rock without creating any friction or heat, that it was to have been soundless in operation, and to have had such a nature that it had to be kept in a lead container, that any other form of container would become dangerous because of it. And this strange object is said in ancient Judaic traditions to have been used in the construction of the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem, because there was a prescription against using iron tools in the cutting of the ashlar blocks of the Temple of Solomon. And therefore it is said in many ancient Judaic traditions that the shamir was used instead, some kind of device that we don't understand, which was capable of cutting the hardest rocks. They said that it could engrave tiny letters onto jewels. Yes, it does sound like I mean, if we look at it in terms of modern stuff, it sounds like some kind of laser. Or with an energy source. The Bible tells us that Moses in fact went up Mount Sinai twice, 2 periods of 40 days. At the end of the first 40-day period, he came down supposedly with the 10 Commandments written on 2 tablets of stone by the finger of God, and he found the Israelites worshipping the golden calf, and the Bible says that he destroyed the 2 tablets of stone at that time. He then returned back up the Mount Sinai, spent another 40-day period there, and came down with 2 more tablets of stone. And this time, when he came down, his face is reported to have glowed so horribly that all his followers were terrified, and that ever afterwards, until the end of his days, he had to wear a veil over his face. It sounds like he was burnt. And when you listen to the descriptions of what went on at the top of Mount Sinai in the Bible and in extra biblical sources, it does sound very, very odd. And for me, the answer to this, and it was really the research I was doing on that led me to the research of Fingerprints of the Gods, and from there to the message of the Sphinx, because the background of Moses is the crucial issue. Moses grew up in the household of a pharaoh of Egypt. In fact, he was groomed as a potential pharaoh, and this means that he would have been initiated into all the high wisdom and knowledge of ancient Egypt. And I think that much of the magic and miracles associated with Moses needs to be understood in context of his Egyptian background as a high initiate, as a high priest, in fact, in the Egyptian tradition. And even the Ark of the Covenant itself, I found, has precedence in Egyptian traditions. Golden boxes are described, which when opened produce a jet of flame that comes out and burns, consumes anybody standing around them. That's exactly what the Ark of the Covenant did.
And we are not to open that, are we?
I would say not, no.